Imagine if, in an instant, the Earth stopped spinning. This seemingly impossible event would bring about catastrophic changes, altering the planet and the lives of its inhabitants in unimaginable ways. Let's delve into what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning, starting with the immediate impact on life itself. The sudden halt of Earth's rotation would spell disaster for nearly all life forms. The intense atmospheric displacement, extreme temperature changes, and loss of the magnetic field would create an environment hostile to most organisms. The most immediate and devastating effect would be the sudden wind traveling at the speed of Earth's rotation, up to 1,670 kilometers per hour. This wind would flatten forests, destroy infrastructure, and almost certainly kill all humans and animals instantly. The extreme conditions would lead to mass extinctions, affecting plants, animals, and even microorganisms, leaving no room for survival beyond some extremophiles, which thrive in harsh environments like deep-sea hydrothermal vents. Most life forms are finely tuned to the Earth's current conditions. Plants rely on predictable cycles of light and darkness to conduct photosynthesis and regulate growth. The sudden and drastic change in environmental conditions would disrupt these cycles, leading to widespread failure in reproductive processes and food chains. The lack of a stable environment would mean that ecosystems would rapidly collapse, unable to support the complex web of life that currently thrives. The inertia of the oceans would result in gigantic tsunamis, crashing into coastlines with devastating force. These massive waves would obliterate coastal ecosystems, sweep away human settlements, and alter the geography of continents. Marine life would be heavily impacted, with disrupted habitats and altered water currents leading to the collapse of many marine ecosystems. The sheer volume of water displaced would reshape the coastlines, erasing familiar landmarks and creating new, chaotic shorelines. Coral reefs, which provide essential habitats for many marine species, would be destroyed, further impacting marine biodiversity. The force of these tsunamis would also bring deep-sea creatures to the surface and vice versa, causing massive ecological imbalances. With no rotation, one half of the Earth would be in constant daylight while the other in perpetual darkness. The sunlit side would become unbearably hot, causing widespread fires and droughts, while the dark side would freeze. Plants and animals that survived the initial winds and had adapted to a 24-hour cycle would struggle to survive these extreme conditions, leading to further massive die-offs and the collapse of ecosystems. In the perpetual daylight regions, temperatures would soar, creating desert-like conditions unsuitable for most forms of life. Water bodies would evaporate, soil would dry out, and vegetation would burn. On the dark side, temperatures would plummet, causing water bodies to freeze and creating a lifeless, frozen wasteland. The stark contrast in temperatures would create inhospitable zones where only the hardiest organisms could hope to survive, and even they would face immense challenges. The sudden shift from temperate to extreme climates would leave no time for adaptation, leading to the rapid extinction of countless species. Most organisms would be caught unprepared for such drastic environmental changes, resulting in widespread death and ecological collapse. The Earth's magnetic field, generated by its spinning iron core, would collapse without rotation. This would leave the planet vulnerable to harmful solar and cosmic radiation. The atmosphere would gradually erode, and increased radiation would cause severe health issues for those lucky enough to survive, including higher cancer rates and genetic mutations. Most life forms would struggle to survive under these conditions, leading to further extinctions. The atmosphere would redistribute, thinning at the poles and thickening at the equator. This would create suffocating conditions at high latitudes, where the air would become too thin to breathe. This shift would also lead to extreme and unpredictable weather patterns, further challenging survival. Solar winds would strip away the Earth's atmosphere, thinning it over time. This would result in a significant increase in radiation levels at the surface, which could cause widespread genetic damage in organisms. The altered atmospheric conditions would make the polar regions inhospitable, driving species that rely on these environments towards extinction. In the equatorial regions, the increased pressure would lead to respiratory issues and other health problems, making survival difficult for both humans and animals. The redistribution of atmospheric gases could also lead to areas of hypoxia, or low oxygen levels, which would be deadly for many species. In a world without rotation, the day-night cycle would shift to 6 months of daylight, followed by 6 months of darkness. This drastic change would disrupt biological rhythms essential for reproduction, feeding, and growth. Many species would be unable to adapt, leading to ecological chaos and widespread extinction. Only the most adaptable organisms could potentially find ways to survive in such a drastically altered environment. The prolonged daylight periods would cause continuous photosynthesis in plants until they ran out of necessary nutrients and water, leading to their eventual demise. Conversely, the extended darkness would halt photosynthesis altogether, causing plants to die from lack of energy. Animals that depend on these plants for food would also face starvation, and predators that rely on these herbivores would soon follow. The extended periods of extreme light and darkness would also disrupt migration patterns and breeding seasons, leading to further ecological instability. The imbalance in day and night cycles would create conditions where traditional food chains and life cycles could no longer function, resulting in the collapse of ecosystems and mass extinctions. The abrupt halt of the Earth's rotation would cause immense stress on the planet's crust, triggering violent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Tectonic plates would suddenly stop their slow movement, leading to massive seismic activity. This would destroy human structures, alter landscapes, and create additional challenges for surviving species, pushing many towards extinction. The stress on the tectonic plates would likely cause widespread fractures and faulting, leading to earthquakes of unprecedented magnitude. Volcanic eruptions would spew ash and gases into the atmosphere, further altering the climate and creating hazardous conditions for all life forms. The destruction of habitats through seismic activity would make it even harder for species to find safe environments to live and reproduce. The ash and gases from volcanic eruptions could lead to a volcanic winter, blocking sunlight and cooling the planet, compounding the existing extreme conditions. The combination of seismic and volcanic activity would result in a planet constantly in turmoil, with no safe havens for life. Without the centrifugal force from rotation, gravity would increase, especially at the equator. This would make everything feel heavier, affecting both plant and animal physiology. Sea levels would rise, potentially flooding equatorial regions and altering habitats. Many species would struggle with the increased gravitational force, leading to further die-offs. The increased gravity would put additional stress on living organisms, potentially causing physical deformities and reducing mobility. Plants might struggle to grow upright, and animals might find it harder to move efficiently, impacting their ability to find food and evade predators. This would further strain the already collapsing ecosystems, leading to even more extinctions. The change in gravity would also affect water distribution, causing floods in some areas and droughts in others, further disrupting life on Earth. The new gravitational forces would alter the very structure of biological organisms, making survival even more challenging. Ocean currents, driven by wind patterns and the Coriolis effect, would be drastically altered. The cessation of these currents would disrupt marine ecosystems, affecting nutrient distribution and water temperatures. The loss of ocean currents would also impact global climate patterns, causing further environmental stress. The disruption of ocean currents would lead to stagnation in some areas and hyperactive currents in others, creating imbalances in marine environments. Nutrient-rich waters that support vibrant ecosystems would become scarce, leading to declines in fish populations and other marine species. This would have a cascading effect on the entire food web, further pushing many species towards extinction. The loss of stable ocean currents would also affect weather patterns on land, leading to further environmental instability and making it even harder for life to persist. The changes in ocean circulation would disrupt the delicate balance of marine life, causing widespread die-offs and the collapse of entire ecosystems. In the aftermath of the Earth's sudden stop, the planet's geological and environmental landscape would undergo profound changes. The combination of intense seismic activity, volcanic eruptions, and altered weather patterns would reshape the Earth's surface. New mountain ranges might form, while others could crumble. Rivers could change course, and new lakes and seas might appear. The climate would stabilize into a new harsh reality, with extreme temperatures and unpredictable weather becoming the norm. These geological and environmental changes would create new challenges for any surviving life forms. Ecosystems would need to adapt to the new landscapes and climate conditions. Some species might find new ecological niches to exploit, while others would struggle to survive in the drastically altered environment. The long-term recovery of the planet's biosphere would depend on the ability of life to adapt and evolve in response to these changes. The new environmental conditions would be harsher and less predictable, making the survival and evolution of species a constant challenge. The sudden stop of Earth's rotation could also have implications for the solar system as a whole. The gravitational balance between Earth and the Moon, for example, could be affected, potentially altering the Moon's orbit. This could lead to changes in tidal patterns, further impacting Earth's already devastated ecosystems. Additionally, the redistribution of mass on Earth could slightly alter its gravitational pull, affecting nearby celestial bodies. The changes in Earth's position and behavior could have minor ripple effects throughout the solar system. While these changes might not be catastrophic for other planets and moons, they would add to the overall instability of the solar system's dynamics. The altered gravitational interactions could lead to new trajectories for space debris and potentially increase the risk of collisions between celestial bodies. This could result in a more chaotic environment in space, with increased chances of impacts that could affect other planets and their moons. The overall stability of the solar system could be subtly but significantly altered, leading to long-term changes in the orbits and interactions of its various components.